They say the hurricane has an eye, but surely it is suffering its rage.
And blind as womanhood, tongue, or race, which land can claim a history unmarked by the catastrophe of earthquake, wind, and fire?
The Netherlands and Alaska.
To the catastrophes of nature alone, add those which men themselves often contribute: hunger, poverty, epidemics, which follow like shadows man's footsteps across history's pages.
And the worst of scourges. When man sets out to destroy his brother, he releases passions against which reason cannot prevail. And out of the calamity of war is heard the cry of the homeless, the suffering, the dispossessed.
An ear attuned to that cry is that of the Red Cross, a worldwide emergency service to meet human need, coordinated by the League of Red Cross Societies, Geneva, Switzerland, a federation of 102 Red Cross, Red Crescent, and Red Lion and Sun societies, with a combined membership of over 175 million people.
Is it not significant that when newly independent countries achieve nationhood, one of their first acts is to found a national Red Cross or Red Crescent society and join the League?
When word of a major disaster reaches League headquarters, the League moves at once, often sending a delegate to the scene, well aware that moments, hours, and days may be equated with human lives. When national resources are not enough, the League launches an international appeal for relief, which is heard round the world.
Human concern alone is not enough. Guidance is needed for public generosity. So that, for example, the inhabitants of tropical countries are not sent woolen garments when what they desperately need are food and vaccines.
Sometimes disasters occur in remote places where precious hours might be lost in conveying urgently needed relief materials. Against that risk, permanent stocks of relief supplies are maintained by the League in key locations, which can be quickly moved by airlift involving plane or helicopter. Airlines Railway companies and shipping concerns respond readily to the Red Cross appeal.
It is important to note that the League is a coordinating agency, aiding and assisting individual national societies.
When international supplies reach the stricken area, the work of the National Society begins, bringing together those people and equipment essential to alleviate distress. Medical aid is high on the list of pressing needs. And people from every walk of life. People with varied skills are needed, urgently. Such volunteer action is the heart of the movement.
Something there is about the nature of human tragedy, which brings out the finer qualities in people everywhere. A willingness to share whatever they have with others less fortunate.
The basic things we all take for granted, like a roof overhead.
Things we don't miss until they're gone. And when they're gone, suddenly, shockingly, we can only turn to our neighbors for help. It is then we learn the true meaning of brotherhood.
What would happen to our own children should calamities strike us down? Who would care for them if we were not there?
Who will teach the child to forgive the unforgivable? Who will help these to resume now the normal course of life? These whom ill fate has robbed of everything they possess, to commence their lives anew. For over a century, the Red Cross has provided help to troubled people in time of need. And in the next 100 years, the Red Cross will continue to help them begin again along the way.
In 1963, the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to the movement founded by Henri Dunant.
The centenary of the Red Cross was marked by its extension around the globe, since all nations appreciate the necessity of ratifying the Geneva Convention.
Because the heart speaks the same tongue in every land. Because solidarity completes independence. Because selfishness is incompatible with freedom. Because none of us can exist without the security offered by mutual assistance. We met together in Switzerland to prepare ourselves to better cope with human needs, thus better serving others.
Fune, close to Geneva, transformed into a leadership study center with a meeting place for the delegates of 41 countries on the occasion of the centenary. It was here they set forth their problems and discussed the information given by the International Red Cross and the lessons drawn from their own experience. One of the primary tasks of the Red Cross around the world is training first aiders. The kind of first aid skill needed is of course dependent on the particular needs of each geographic area. In lands where swift rivers, high cliffs and deep ravines are commonplace, it is essential to train rescue workers to deal with obstacles, to carry patients on long treks over rugged terrain with minimum suffering.
Where mining is a major industry, accidents are sudden. Time is of the essence. First aid is needed on the spot. When cave-ins or landslides occur, or other accidents involving asphyxiation, a sure knowledge of mouth-to-mouth respiration may be essential if lives are to be saved.
The nursing school has long been a symbol of Red Cross achievement in many countries. In Africa and elsewhere, governments have welcomed the establishment of such schools, and leaders have expressed their thanks for the contribution thereby to the lowering of the infant mortality rate, the improvement of public health, and the number of lives saved.
Throughout Europe, North America, and other continents, a major emphasis is placed on highway first aid. The automobile accident being one kind of calamity our first aiders are most likely to meet. Where low temperatures combine with heavy snowfalls, as in Scandinavia, ice and cold pose a problem. Instructors show modern methods of dealing with fractures and frozen, show how to carry a victim of congestion due to cold without aggravating his condition.
Another major emphasis of the study groups at Fune was in the area of medico-social activities. The child, first and foremost, must be fed. Especially needed is milk, of course. In many lands, the major defense must be against the stalking spectre of human hunger. Many national societies, in accord with the authorities, arrange for home care to be provided by nurses. In many regions of the world, distances are long between communities, and doctors are few and overworked.
Services receive calls around the clock. Nurses or nursing assistants are sent across winding roads and footpaths to distant farms in order to release doctors for grave cases for which they are indispensable. Supplementing this program, the Red Cross has organized home nursing courses which enable individual families to provide some basic care for themselves.
Radio telephone is often used to provide the right person with the right skill at the right time and place.
A major thrust has been mounted against a dreaded scourge of youth, polio. Specialized Red Cross personnel bring to victims help and encouragement towards a return to normal existence. In Eastern Europe, a serious epidemic was checked as a result of Professor Shumakov's employment of the American Sabine vaccine. Young Red Cross nurses helped save thousands of lives by carrying the vaccine to remote towns and farms across the countryside.
In the growth of a child, the development of his skeletal frame, his lifetime posture, and his health may well depend on whether he has a proper bed in which to sleep. One of our European Red Cross societies has succeeded in distributing 3,000 beds to families in mountainous regions, assuring proper support for children's bodies while they rest.
That vital life force, which is man's blood, is collected and stored for life-saving transfusion by Red Cross societies of the world. Armies of blood donors are recruited each year to meet this growing and vital need. A program and a service which knows no color or race. Caucasian, African, Arab, or Indian may be members of the same blood group and are alike in this basic need. Once collected, blood is quickly forwarded to the nearest transfusion center, where it is classified and cataloged by blood group. Available to medical experts, doctors, chemists, biologists, for the saving of human life. When bottles are not immediately needed for transfusion of whole blood, plasma is drawn out, treated, and dried. In such form, it can be preserved for several years in cold storage, against the day when it may be urgently needed.
Named after the founder of the Red Cross, the good ship Henri Dunant embarks for an excursion with its passengers made up of invalids suffering from chronic diseases, many of whom have been bedridden for years. Recreational therapy is offered and souvenirs given, as well as folk dance demonstrations, all designed to lift the human spirit. Doctors and assistants team together in a common human cause. When a dam lets go, it's always without warning. Suddenly, cataclysm. All that was there before is no more. Red Cross rescue workers are quickly organized and on the scene. Helpless, homeless people are cared for in reception centers, organized to give basic relief services. A new threat to human health and life. Radioactivity has emerged in our changing world as a result of the introductory use of nuclear energy. Expert training is given to key personnel in determining which garments may be kept and which are to be thrown away. All clothing, water and food must be checked for dangerous radioactivity before being released for human use.
Misfortune may appear in any place, at any time. A peaceful quarry can be transformed instantly into a grave for living humans. Red Cross emergency teams know only too well that every movement is important, A few seconds may be a few breaths too late. The beautiful alpine ranges sometimes become white, silent cemeteries for the inexperienced and unprepared. Avalanche or snowstorm call out the specially trained rescue teams whose equipment includes all that modern science brings to the cause of human concern. Helicopters, experts on skis, rope teams, suspension carryalls combining to save men's lives.
The air nurse pilot parachutists are leaders amongst those women whose heroic and selfless concern takes them into places of danger to save human lives. Training is rigorous and demanding. Teams are so composed that specialized members can set up surgical tents, also parachuted to the scene, and offer surgical services at any time, at any place.
Here is tomorrow's Red Cross. It is as the children of our generation are instilled with the humanitarian spirit of concern for others, that the light which burns in the darkness will continue to shine. unless and until he is taught to hate, the gentle spirit of the child will reach fearlessly across racial and national boundaries. With friendship comes understanding, and with understanding may come peace.
As children become adult and stand on the threshold of responsibility, they must in turn understand full well the vital significance of what they have learned. In their hands is no mere paper certificate, but much, much more. It is a promise and a hope.
A promise of a happier world, and a hope that they will remember. Theirs is the heritage, which is the Red Cross, first learned on the battlefield of Solferino, and which lives on into our day. A heritage and a hope as fragile as the spirit of man, and as enduring as his faith.